In this video, I'm going to teach you something entirely new that has never been revealed that I guarantee will give you a whole new perspective on how you approach, talk to, and attract the kinds of women that you want to date. Hey, what's going on? My name is Joshua Pellissier, and thank you so much for clicking and watching this video. I have some information for you, and something that I've just been studying that's come to my attention that totally changed my life and gave me a completely new perspective on how I look at coaching people, on how to be good with women, on how to attract women, as well as how people learn and how to recognize their strongest style, their own personal style that works for them. Till recently, I had an idea that everybody, all guys, had the same style of meeting women. Some guys were just good at it. Some guys picked up quickly, and they could go out to a bar, they could meet women, and it wasn't a big deal. And some guys, it took them a little bit longer, but it's because they were resistant or something. I didn't really know what it was. Well, it turns out through studying a lot of psychology since I've created that curriculum and I've taught it, that that's not entirely true. I'm not saying that everything I've ever taught until now is a lie. Of course it's not, but it's only about 1/4 of what I should have been teaching. And now that I've learned this new concept, this new idea, and created a new curriculum for that idea, I have completely rewritten everything that I've done. I mean, it changed everything for me, and I want to give that to you right now and help you figure out what your strengths are so that you can work toward your strengths. So it turns out that there are major components to deciding whether or not you're going to be able to meet women in a bar atmosphere at nighttime easily. If you're one of those guys that has tried over and over again, all these different styles of learning, all these different styles of techniques of how to meet women, how to build attraction, and you have not just been able to get it, hasn't really clicked for you, it doesn't really feel right. Maybe it works every once in a while, but even when it does, it doesn't really feel right to you. Or if you're a guy who, you go out, you try, you meet women, it's fine, actually, you're doing okay, but you sort of hit a glass ceiling where you can't really get past it. It's like, I can go out and I can meet women, maybe I can get a telephone number or two every once in a while, or maybe often, and I just can't really seem to bring them to the date, to get them to that point where, I can go out on a date with them, I can hang out with them, I can connect with them, and I just can't really seem to do that very well. If either of those two things are true for you, then listen up very carefully, because I'm going to explain to you exactly why it is that is the case, and I'm going to explain to you what you can do in order to cultivate, to help you get yourself to the next level and finally pass that glass ceiling, as we call it, as well. So I have a program called Hacking Attraction. This is the first sort of time I've revealed this to the public, that there is something out there, there is something that decides whether or not you will be good with women or you won't be good with women, and it really has to do with your personality type. It kind of came at me from a place I didn't expect it to come, but this is how it is, and this is what I've learned. So there are two major factors that will decide whether or not you will be good. And these different factors will decide whether or not you will be good with women in an environment like a nightclub versus whether or not you will be good with women in an environment like the daytime or a cafe. So let's look at the first set of criteria that we have to go over. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to write down the answer. You can comment below with the answer as well if you want to. At the very bottom of this page, there'll be a comment box. You can go ahead and put that in there with your answers and let me know. The first question is, if left to your own devices, if you just had it your own way, would you rather be, or would you typically be, on time or early, or would you typically be always a little bit late? So this is a question. So not necessarily having to do with work or business, but just in general, are you typically on time or early, or are you typically a little bit late? And I'll give you a moment to write that down and think about it. It should be very quick. Shouldn't really take up a lot of your time. So some people find that they like to be on time or early all the time, and they just feel better when they are. And some people like to have a more relaxed schedule, and they don't really like to be tied down by dates and times. If you're one and you're not the other one will probably be repulsive to you. So for example, I like to be a little bit late all the time, and the thought of having to be on time for every situation really just makes me not feel right. You may be the other way around, which is really important for you to know that. The next thing I want to ask is kind of a strange question, and this one I want you to take your time with, and I want you to really think about. I'm going to have two objects here. These are pens, and I want to hold them up. Hopefully you can see them okay. And I want you to basically compare these two pens. I'll just step a little bit closer so you can see them. And just look at them for a little bit and write down the comparison and what you see for these two pens. Go ahead and do it. Whatever comes to mind, just go ahead and write down. Don't think about it too much. Just go ahead and start writing things down. I'm not going to give you any examples yet, but I will tell you what this means in a moment. So go ahead and take a good look. You got it? Get at least 3 things written down here. At least think of them in your head and have them in your mind. Okay? If you need more time, you can pause this video, but I'm going to stop now. All right, so let's look at what this means. These are the 2 questions I need to ask you, and that's it. Now I can tell you what your style is and how you're going to be good with women and how you're going to be, what areas you're going to be struggling with, and how you can work towards your strengths to use your superpowers that you don't know that you have in order to meet and attract beautiful women in your life. The first is, let's go back to the first question. If left to your own devices, would you rather be on time or early or always a little bit late? Well, if you're on time or early, I want you to put a J on your piece of paper. Write that down. Just write J. J's are judger types. They're people who like to be on time or early, like a schedule. They also like things that outside of them to be in order and familiar. This is very important, so keep this in mind. If you answer that you want to always be a little bit late, or you'd rather just be a little bit late, or if left to your own devices, you would be a little bit late if no one would judge you on that, then you are, put a P down on your piece of paper because you are a perceiver. Judgers like controlled environments. Perceivers really like new environments. I'm a perceiver. I like new environments. Perceivers are typically best in areas where there's a lot of information coming at them very quickly. So this will tell you whether or not you're going to be good at meeting women during the daytime, in a cafe environment or someplace that you're comfortable with, versus nighttime in an area where it's lots of information flying at you very quickly. I am very good at meeting women at nighttime, and I've had to learn how to be good at doing it during the daytime. I don't have a natural affinity for it. I had to learn how to do it. If you're a perceiver, and you said you'd always like to be a little bit late, if you could, and not have to think about time, then you are going to be naturally set up to go into a bar and meet a woman at nighttime and sort of pick up women, sort of, so to speak. If you are a judger and you wrote a J down, you said you'd like to have a schedule or sort of be on time, then you're going to naturally be good at meeting women either online or in an environment that you're already comfortable with. Now, let's look back at the pens that I held up. The pens, even though I said to compare the two, what you may find that you did is you may find that you actually contrasted them. You may find that you said, well, one is blue, which is this one is black, one has this other writing here, they have different writing on them. One looks a little more beat up, if you could even see that. You may have even gotten to the point where you're like, well, one's being held a little bit higher than the other, one is at a tilt and one isn't. Things like that. One has the stem here where it's the pen holder next to the words and one doesn't. So you may have started contrasting them all. Or you'd have said, they're both pens, they're both in your hand, they're both being waved in the air, they both write most likely, they both probably have ink. These things, they're all the same, right? So you may have found you're somewhere in the middle, but in the beginning, what were the first things that popped up? Did you say lots of things that were different or lots of things that were the same? If you said lots of things that were different, then you are what's called a difference person. This is important, and you may think that everyone does this, but they don't. They do not do this. Difference people are hunters. If you're difference-minded, that means that you like to see somebody that you are attracted to and then go get them in some kind of way. Go out and get them. If you're a sameness person, someone who saw the pens as just being 2 pens, there's no real difference between the 2 of them. They're both pens, they both write. You might write a letter with them, whatever. They're both being held in your hand. You're what's called a sameness person. And a sameness person is really good at gathering women into their lives. So when you put these 2 together, you have what's called a quadrant, right? These 4 different areas that make up your strength with women. One of them is where you exist. Now I'm going to go over those 4 quadrants briefly, And if you have any more questions, I'd love to answer those questions. But I also am teaching a course in New York City all about teaching to your quadrant, learning from your quadrant, and learning how to meet women based on your quadrant. So if you want to know more about that, then simply sign up below. But until then, let's go over the 4 different quadrants briefly, and I'll tell you what they are. If you found that you were a difference person, the pins look different in lots of ways, and you were a perceiver, as in you always like to be late, then you are like me, and you have a natural ability to walk into a bar, see a woman that you're attracted to, and go get her. That's what you will be good at. That's what you will like to do. In fact, if you have to do other things besides that, it might be kind of weird for you. It might not really feel right. Even though you may go out to a bar and you may be scared, you may be curious, whatever it is, you still find that that environment sort of pushes you and drives you a little bit more than other environments do. Now, if you haven't tapped into this yet, it could be something that you need to strengthen, but you will have a natural affinity. You were born to go to a bar or go to a loud environment or go to a high-impact environment to see somebody that you want and go after them. If you start training in that, then you will be a total badass at it, and I think you should start training in that. I'll go over that in a minute. If you found that you were a sameness person, as in the pins look exactly the same to you and didn't really matter, and you were a perceiver, right? So you would always like to be a little bit late, then you are going to be really good at going to a bar and talking to all the women at once, and then finding out which ones you like and you dig, and then leaving with 1 or 2 or whatever you want, or getting lots of numbers. These people are called numbers gatherers. Numbers gatherers need a lot of people flowing through their lives so that they can choose. So they need a lot of options, and they need to choose from those options. They don't like to go out and see one woman and go get her. They like to talk to everybody and then decide who they want to go with after that. They like to also be in a very high impact environment, much like I do. Now, the superpower of my type, we're called super learners. Super learners who are difference perceivers in this quadrant. They are very, very good at taking in lots of information and learning from their mistakes very, very quickly. If you're a super learner, that means that you can maybe make a mistake twice and you can move on to the next level. It's one of the superpowers that we have, right? And if you know how to do that, you should really learn to that style and make a lot of rapid mistakes. That way you can grow faster. And you can also, of course, when you're meeting women, you want to use this to your advantage, and it changes your body language. Everything changes when you know this about yourself. You have to live into that type, into that strength of yours. If you're the opposite over here on the other end, if you're a sameness perceiver, you're a numbers gatherer, then you have the ability to frame women, right? So we look at this like these guys are extremely skilled. They go out, they try something a whole lot over and over and over and over and over again. They're called super skilled men. They're called the super skilled. And so basically what you do is you go out, you meet a woman, you meet another woman, another one, another one, another one, and you eventually see patterns over time. Now, because you see these patterns, you develop really powerful skills that are extremely, extremely acute and powerful. You may find it a little bit difficult to get past that, so you may find that you hit a glass ceiling at some point, and you can't really overcome it very easily. But it's there, and you have the skills before that, you got them nailed. I mean, you can get a girl into a deep conversation every single time you go out, if you want to. You're what's called super skilled. Now, if you found that you were a judger, let's say that you always like to be on time or early, and you're a sameness, as in both the pins look the same to you, they're both pins, you're what's called a super framer. This is exactly the opposite of my style, though I do appreciate and understand this style. Super framers bring women into their lives, not in a very high-impact environment. Instead, it would be like a bar that they always go to where they know the bartender and they know everybody there, or a restaurant, or even to their house. And they bring them into their lives over and over and over, lots and lots of different women. And so what they get to do is they bring women into their worlds. They are really powerful at creating an environment in which, within that environment, they are king. They reign dominion over this environment. Now, if you are a super framer, I highly suggest that you try online dating because it will work wonders for you. You meet women online in some kind of sense or source. You go through your friends to meet women as well, and you meet women, especially during the daytime, if you're going to meet them anywhere, if they're going to be new women in your life. But you're well adapted to and naturally strengthened in the ability to bring women into your environment and frame them once they get inside of your environment, usually they will like you. They'll be attracted to you. But it's just that getting them into that environment is sometimes difficult for super framers. I know how to do that because I've studied it as well. Even though it is my weakness, I've studied my weakness extensively. So it is something that I know a lot about. Now the final quadrant is going to be a judger, so someone who likes to be on time or early, and is going to be a difference person. Now, the interesting thing about a difference judger is that they have the ability to connect with women like no one else does. They're called super connectors. Now, what they do is they like environments that are comfortable to them, and they think that every woman is different. They look at every woman like they're a unique person. And it's not like the sameness people, the numbers people who are both like, okay, well, they're all the same, they're all women. This person, difference people, look at everyone as an individual. Now this can be good because it can help us connect easier, can help us see what we want, but it can be bad because we can get caught up in the idea that, oh, I just lost somebody and it was the only person that was for me in the whole world, right? So it can be really scary. So if you are a judger who is a difference person, then you're going to want people to come into your environment where you can build strong connective rapport easily and over time. So you need an environment where everyone knows you and you're comfortable, either at your house or whatever, but you're not going to be so good at framing everybody so that they fall into your world. Instead, you're really going to connect with them. You're going to build these really strong bonds with the people that you're with. These can be lead to very, very deep and detailed relationships. You can have, some people may call you a serial monogamist. You may date women over and over and over. And you may find that when you do love someone or really like them, that you fall deeply and quickly into this world, and it's really hard to get out. So now that you know your quadrant, if you do want to learn how to meet women based on your quadrant, please come to my class. I have a class in New York City that's 3 days long. I'm going to go over body language, attraction techniques, rapport, seduction techniques, everything having to do with your specific quadrant for you. Also, I'm going to explain to you what your natural strengths are besides these qualities. There are lots of other things you need to know about yourself too, and how you can go about using those strengths that you naturally have to really attract women in a way that's going to feel perfect for you, like it's second nature, like it's almost too easy. And that's the way it should be. If it doesn't feel almost too easy, something's wrong. So I want to teach that to you. It's my new curriculum. I really love it very much. If you do want to be a part of it, please sign up below. You'll see the dates there, and you'll see lots of more dates popping up as well. And if you can't make it to the course, then you can also sign up for a video version of my course as well, where I teach all the details of the entire course to you specifically over a video. So anyway, thanks for watching this, and I hope you gained a lot from it. It's been one of the biggest discoveries I've ever made. It's changed the way I look at everything, the way I teach, the way I view dating, attraction, relationships, everything. And I hope it will do the same for you. Thanks a lot for watching, and go ahead and comment below if you have any questions. And if you do want to sign up, I suggest you do that now before we fill the seats up. Thanks a lot. There's very limited seating in this class, and the last time I offered a Hacking Attraction Bootcamp, it sold out 5 days after I posted it on Facebook. And these classes are definitely going to fill up immediately. But if you're seeing this video, that means that I still have some seats left in the course. So if you are thinking about coming, now's the time to reserve your seat. The price for my Hacking Attraction course is normally $1,700, but if you order from this page right now, I'll give you a $1,000 discount to the program. And that means you'll get to sit in, ask questions, and learn directly from me for just $700. It's a new year, and I really want to celebrate the fact that 2010 is finally over, and this $1,000 discount is my gift to you. But get a seat quickly because, like I said, these seminars always sell out, and it'll likely be a while before I have enough time to do another tour. So what I want you to do now is click on the Add to Cart button, and I'll contact you shortly with exact location details of the program. Good luck, and I look forward to meeting you.